Hello, welcome back guys to another video. And this time about my second leg predictions of the semi-finals of the Champions League. As you may know, I look a lot different from my previous semi-finals. I dyed my hair white, and yeah, I'll be giving my thoughts on these because we had one hell of a game last week and also a pretty boring one. Uh, so yeah, let's see what I think on my predictions. So starting off with a Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid. So the first game was an absolute snooze fest. I'm telling you, it was an absolute snooze fest. So nothing much happened in the first half. Although, to, towards the end of the first half, uh, Victor Gyökeres won a penalty for Arsenal, and yeah, and then he calmly converted his penalty and celebrated like this. Okay, that's a I actually do like that celebration, to be honest. It's good. So yeah, but then in the second half, Arsenal, of course, they sat back and parked the bus because they only had 4 shots, and Atletico had 23 shots, and yeah, Atletico awakened in the second half, and yeah, they had a lot of chances until Llorente volleyed the ball and it hit Ben White's hand, and of course it was penalty. And Julian Alvarez calmly slotted it into the back of the net for to tie the game up 1-1. And yeah, Atletico Madrid did have some more chances, but none of their games, none of their uh, none of those goals went in. But Arsenal did win a penalty, which in my opinion was a penalty. I know the referee gave didn't give a penalty because he thought it wasn't a penalty, but for me it was. There was just a tiny little bit there was tiny contact, but the ref didn't give it. I really think that they should have given that penalty. So yeah, and now Atletico Madrid, they beat Valencia 2 goals to 1. I mean 2-0 this weekend, and Arsenal beat Fulham 3-0, which give me confidence that I think Arsenal could go through. Because if they play like that, how they beat Fulham 3-0, even Gyökeres is actually starting to deliver. He scored 2 goals. And of course, rested all of the key players for the big game versus Arsenal in 2 days. Yeah. So, what do I think will happen in this game? I want Atletico to get knocked out. That's exactly what I want. I need Arsenal to win. So, I'm going to stick to my current prediction and give Arsenal and Arsenal will go through to the Champions League final. They will be the first finalists and they will make their first Champions League final, which was against my club Barcelona since 2006. So hopefully Atletico Madrid gets knocked out. So yeah, that's my final prediction. Arsenal to win 3 goals to 1, hopefully. And those teams actually met each other in the groups in the league phase where Arsenal beat them 4-0. They thrashed them. Okay. So now that was peak Rumble at its best. Okay, so now moving on to, oh my god, what a game that was! PSG versus Arsenal. What a game that was to watch! Oh my god, that game had everything. I was like absolutely entertained. So yeah, it was probably the best game I've ever watched in my entire life. 5-4, 9 goals. Wow. Okay, so let's start. It all started off where Harry Kane, I mean, Luis Diaz won a penalty, and then Harry Kane converted it to give Bayern the early lead in the 17th minute. But then Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, or should I say Kvaradona, scored breathtaking goal, calmly slotted into the bottom corner, and yeah, what a finish from Kvaratskhelia, 1-1, and then corner kick for PSG. and the shortest man on the field, Joao Neves, scored, and somehow Neuer didn't save that. I think Neuer was selling in that game. Yeah, but Joao Neves scored. Underrated player as well. But then Michael Olise, he is too good. I have to admit now, I'm a big Lamine Yamal fan, but I just think Olise is slightly better. What a goal! Dribble past few defenders, and then boom, smack the goal into the top corner. What a goal by Michael Olise. And then PSG won a penalty. Alphonso Davies. Okay, I think it was a pretty soft penalty, but I still think it was a penalty because it hit his hand. And then Ousmane Dembele, the man who missed the chance earlier, redeemed himself and scored to give to put PSG 3-2 up right before halftime. And after halftime, it got ugly for Bayern. Yes, it got very ugly. So first, PSG scored again thanks to Kvaratskhelia. Scored the second of the night, and then Ousmane Dembele scored again. And yeah, Neuer, he just watched the ball in slow motion go into the back of the net. Wow. But if you think this game was over, it wasn't, because Bayern had a lifeline. They, after that, Kimmich whipped in across to Upamecano and scored. Okay, what a goal that! Okay, that was a brilliant cross. But my favorite goal of the night has to be for my Colombiano Luis Diaz. Oh my god! And then the Hurricane sent in a great through long ball, then which Luis Diaz controlled it with his with controlled it in the air with his cleat, and then faked the shot, thinking send Marquinhos to the ground, and then scored. What a goal! Luis Diaz, Ballon d'Or. No one's talking about him. He should be talked more because the stats he had this season is just insane. And then but then PSG had one last chance to sentence the game, and then Sani Mayulu hit the ball off the crossbar. Final game, 5-4 PSG. Oh my god, that was absolutely peak cinema. 5-4. What an entertaining game of football that was. Oh my god, I was absolutely amazed by that game. It was the best game I've ever seen. Well, it might not be the 2022 World Cup final from where it ended 3-3, but still, it was a great game to watch. Probably game of the season by far. By far, yeah. So I think that was a peak game to watch. So now, what will happen in the second leg? Well, my original prediction was Bayern to go through to the final. And can Bayern complete a comeback? Well, I'm gonna say yes. I think Bayern will come back in another high-scoring game in the Allianz Arena. Three goals to two. Game goes to penalties, and then Bayern win on penalties. Hopefully, Bayern Munich goes to the final. I want to see Luis Diaz lift the Champions League. That would be so big for real. So yeah, So the final will be Bayern versus Arsenal. Who will win? Bayern. Bayern will win. So yeah. Those are my final semi-final predictions, and yeah, hope you enjoyed them, and yeah, we'll see you for the grand final prediction.